What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the NBA Slate Starter Podcast. I'm Eric, joined with my buddy Ryan as we break down Friday's 7-game NBA DFS slate on DraftKings, FanDuel, and Yahoo. That was a quick, and then you got out of there. You just had to hit eject. Unlike a lot of NBA teams today, there was some crazy trades that went down. James Harden, Ben Simmons, obviously, there's no doubt about it. That's gigantic. When you get two of the top 25 players win in the regular season, I'm just saying, Ben Simmons, I want all the people to back off there. Two of the top 25 players in the NBA traded at the same time. That's gigantic news. And I'm just curious to get Rinpack's takes right from the get-go. What do you think about Philadelphia and Brooklyn, which I have to assume both improved their teams today?
Both definitely both improved their starting units for sure. Philadelphia lost a decent amount of depth, I think, and an excellent player in Seth Curry as a shooter. He's a phenomenal shooter. And Philly just doesn't have much depth now. They don't have much depth off the bench, while Brooklyn, if one's healthy, they're loaded. 1 through 12, they're all real rotational players in all parts of the league. You take one guy, he's probably getting rotational run, maybe outside of Javon Carter, but he even can get rotational run in some teams. So Brooklyn locked and loaded for some time now, and they got away from the Harden fiasco, which clearly turned on them fast. I was shocked. I didn't think Harden was going to get traded, especially to a division, same division, same conference.
Makes all the sense in the world to me. Here's kind of my thinking about it. Milwaukee was better than Philadelphia, and they were better than Brooklyn. Both Philadelphia and Brooklyn, even if they face each other, who cares? The key is to beat Milwaukee, where you have Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
I think I disagree there. Trio. I think you want the least path of resistance to Milwaukee, right? You don't want to have a hard trip to Milwaukee, right? You want to get there as easy as possible.
But you need to be equipped to be able to beat them.
Yeah, they were equipped with Harden.
Not if Harden is uninterested. And Seth Curry with Ben Simmons is a gigantic duo.
No, I get it. I'm just saying,
Seth Curry's 61%
I think they could have beaten Milwaukee with Harden. I think that's all I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm just saying, now you made another team in your conference better.
I mean, it was an interesting Game 7. That Game 7 is going to have repercussions for years and years and years for both Milwaukee, where you were looking at a coach getting fired in Budenholzer. You were looking at a Giannis who, he had bought into Milwaukee, but you could have been that team.
You can say that about any Game 7.
But this one is like dynamically gigantic, especially because you have 3 players that I think everybody would consider to be top 25 players in the NBA. Durant, Irving, Harden. All 3 in some capacity. Like, now we have one of them removed. We have a Kyrie that's a question mark about certain things.
That Game 7 is like so much more less impactful than the Game 7 in 2016 between the Warriors and Thunder. That changed the NBA. This, I don't think, really changed.
That's true. Well, I'm not going to disagree with you. Sam Presti, Daryl Morey. You think about the GM craziness that went after 2016. You think about teams that were so, I would say they were arrogant. They were arrogant basketball teams to think that they could just keep the entire core intact. And it's not just Harden coming off the bench as a 6th man.
That was 16 Game 7. That's when Kevin Durant leaves Oklahoma City to sign with the Warriors.
Right. Well, no, I'm saying that there's that, but I'm saying that there's legitimately so many repercussions like Russell Westbrook and Serge Ibaka, and you have so many things. And again, the NBA is a beautiful construct of players that have individual talents and sell themselves as individuals, but to find themselves as a cohesive unit and to have it work is a fascinating thing. Now, what I find fun about the Ben Simmons and James Harden trade is that Ben Simmons has to play the 5. You're going to run. So. He has to. Andre Drummond, you don't think so? But come playoff time, you don't think that Ben Simmons will start at the 5?
I don't think so. They can play Aldridge at the 5, and that's completely fine. It's completely fine.
Who's the starting 5 for the Brooklyn Nets come Game 1 of the playoffs.
I don't know what the injury situation with Kevin Durant is. He had pretty.
Let's say Kevin Durant's playing.
I don't know what this injury situation with Joe Harris is.
Oh my God. Okay, let's say that Joe Harris is not playing. Let's say Kevin Durant is.
Okay, you're definitely starting KD, Kyrie, Ben Simmons.
Yep.
And then what happens with the 4 and the 5?
Simmons plays the 5. Durant plays the 4.
He doesn't. They don't. It's positionless to that certain extent. That's what makes him so special, right?
Seth Curry plays the 2.
Seth Curry is probably going to have to start, right? So he can. Yeah, I don't think it's necessary. Like you're going to need to start Ben Simmons at the 5. No way. You can definitely start Aldridge or Claxton. And it's completely fine. What's so hard to think about something like that?
No, I think what's hard for me to think about is like you think about what
they can certainly close with Ben Simmons at the 5. They can certainly close with Ben Simmons at the 5.
I think you start with him at the 5 too because you surround him with Patty Mills. I think Patty Mills and Seth Curry, or in some capacity Joe Harris, if he's playing, plays the 3.
Okay, if Joe Harris,
you can bring Patty Mills off the bench.
Healthy, it can be Kevin Durant at the 5. It doesn't need to be Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is absolutely dynamic with the ball in his hand still. Kyrie can play off the ball as good as any other, like many guards in the league. Kevin Durant needs the ball in his hands to score, but he can still play off the ball. So the whole notion that Ben Simmons needs to play at the 5, I think, is pretty it's a pretty bad take, I think. And I know there's a lot of people who have gone like that, where I don't necessarily think he needs to play at the 5. There's multiple ways where that team can be exceptionally good offensively and defensively without Ben Simmons starting at the 5.
I'm thinking of how that team gets their highest potential. He's a 6'9", bordering 6'10" guy who can handle a basketball up the floor. Like, I was watching Charlotte the other night, primetime. Mason Plumlee can run the ball down the floor. Like, we're in a positionless NBA, and you think about how you...
That's what I'm trying to say.
Go ahead.
It doesn't matter if he starts at the 5 or not. It most likely won't. And I think it will be Kevin Durant a lot of times just doing the jump ball. He's done it already multiple times this year. So that's what I think. And
I agree.
Everyone has their own.
I agree that when it comes to basketball, and again, we're both thinking about things from like, this isn't just DFS. And again, I hope you guys are enjoying this. Smash that like button, subscribe button, notification bell as we get going here on the NBA Slate Starter. But we're coming off a major trade deadline. We're coming off a pretty crazy day in a lot of rights. And now there are a lot of teams. Serge Ibaka got moved. I think we were both anticipating that. Jeremy Grant, we didn't know who would want to take that contract. The answer was nobody. But this James Harden, Ben Simmons thing is fascinating for a lot of reasons. But
they promised Jeremy Grant they won't trade him. Troy Weaver was like publicly stated they were not going to trade him. I was like,
yeah, and he also said that he wanted to be the best player on a team. Well, the only team you're going to be the best player on is probably the Detroit Pistons.
Yeah, I think that's completely fine. I think sometimes, winning is great and obviously has accolades, but damn, it's nice just to get the bag and put up numbers. What's wrong with that?
Nothing's wrong with that. I like making the bag. That's why we play DFS too. But back to Simmons and Harden. I think what's nice, like Simmons was never going to play another game for the Sixers. So you were getting a guy in Harden who's actually going to play for you. And now Simmons is a massive unknown, but James Harden, I think we had talked about this last week randomly where I was like, is James Harden uninterested? And you were like, oh, well, maybe not. I don't really know what to think about that. Certainly was uninterested. And I don't know when the switch flipped for him where he wanted out of there with Kyrie or obviously not Durant because he had forced his way out of Houston to get to Brooklyn. But whether it's tax money, whether it's whatever.
Harden's first choice was always Philly leading up to last year with the Rockets. He wanted to go to Philly from last year.
He loves Morey. He's Morey's boy.
Yeah, I mean, and then Brooklyn was just the fallback option, which is fine, which definitely worked out for the 16 games they played together.
It's happened for a lot of marriages in life. You know, people do that. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I think Philly, he was always going to end up in Philly at some point, and it just happened to be this route. Yeah, it's kind of strange that he didn't want to give this a shot. I do think they were definitely, if they're all healthy, they can definitely win a ring together. But there's obviously some inner psychological mess between that team. Something wasn't gelling. That's clearly going to come out at some point. There's been rumors that Kyrie lighting Sage in a game in January, and Harden was looking at him like Kyrie has 3 heads type of situation, and was blown away with some antics. But you never know what really goes down behind the scenes in any locker room. No.
Have I told you my Kyrie in Vegas story before?
Yeah, you've actually said it a couple times.
Have I said it on this show before?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm just making sure. Hey, everybody, hit that like button once again for us as we get going. If you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple, hello. Hi. So happy to have you here. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed all our content. We had Josh Engelman do an amazing, and I do mean amazing, trade show that I hope you were able to catch a little bit of. I hope you guys were able to catch the NFL, the Super Bowl show that I just did with Lofty and Ben. It was an absolute blast. And Jordan Klein. Jordan Klein was a 4th panelist. We had analyst Jordan Klein in the building. I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you want, go back to our videos on YouTube. Check it out. We did rankings of our favorite foods for the Super Bowl. We did the best Super Bowls of all time, the worst Super Bowls of all time, everything you could know and love about the Super Bowl coming up here in 4 days. We did a recap of that, and we had a couple of drinkies while we did it. It was enjoyable. Maybe that's why I'm so fresh and spicy. Ryan, we're 10 minutes into this puppy. I think we should probably get to some DFS. You ready to get talking about NBA DFS, my absolute genius, no doubt about it, best take buddy?
Let's ride.
You said that so unenthusiastically. You know that I respect you more than anybody else when it comes to NBA, right?
That's great, I guess.
You don't care. Cool. Let's talk guard. We got DeJounte Murray 10-3 up there. There's no Derek White.
That doesn't help me come first in tournaments, so I just need my players to play well when I play them.
It kind of does. I'm an enthusiastic little puppy dog to have in your life. Go get him, Ryan. Go get him. To the top end, DeJounte Murray 10-3. Lots of trades, lots of things that kind of change the complexion of this. But our 2 most expensive guards, same game, San Antonio. They are Derek Whiteless. We have DeJounte Murray there, 10-3. Trae Young, 9,900. Atlanta really didn't do anything, but we've got 9,900 there for Trae Young. Zach Levine, 9,200 going up against Minnesota. Chicago, they didn't really have to do anything. I don't think they really could do anything. So there you are. That's their basketball team going forward. LaMelo Ball against Detroit. Detroit here, I just, on a back-to-back, it's just like, what are you going to do? You play LaMelo Ball at 9K. I love that guy, 1.35 DraftKings points per minute on the season. You fire that up. Donovan Mitchell coming off a game that just got really lopsided. They ended up smashing Golden State in surprising fashion. I think we go right back to the well on a sub-9K Donovan Mitchell, even against a bad Orlando team. But the guy I'm really interested to get your take on. Now, he's 8,400, so I don't really know. But this is assuming Brogdon's out. Is Tyrese Halliburton, the newly acquired Indiana Pacer, at 8,400 in play for you on this DraftKings slate?
Tough matchup against Cleveland is what I would shy away from. I think a priority to spend up for a 9K LaMelo Ball makes a lot of sense. And then he's only $400 cheaper than a Donovan Mitchell. And it seems like it'd be fine to land on him. And then there's a guy who has higher upside in Anthony Edwards, who's cheaper than him. So there's enough indication, and it's a new team. We'll see how he gels with his other teammates. Tyrese Halliburton's a facilitator, and how is he going to be able to facilitate with guys like Chris Duarte, Goga Batadze? Who else is going to play for that team? It's Lance Stevenson, who loves to have the ball in his hand. So it doesn't really bode well for Halliburton to be successul at 8,400 is my take, but I have no issues if you want to go there. I don't think he's a priority for me. Now, if we want to spend down a little bit more, Terry Rozier and Kelly Oubre, 7,300, 5,900 in a Detroit matchup. Detroit's on a back end of a back-to-back. Yeah, you can definitely fall on one of those guys and no issues there. San Antonio let go of Derek White. This is going to definitely boost up a guy potentially like Lonnie Walker or Devin Vassell. Devin Vassell would be the guy I would look to, but Lonnie Walker is going to carry some ownership. Now, another guy that we should be looking to target, Jordan Clarkson's there. We'll see if Nickeil Alexander-Walker is going to be available. But Clarkson at 5,200, it's a little cheap on a great matchup against Orlando. The upside should definitely be on the table for him to be pretty rock solid.
I agree with that one as well. As you're getting a little further down, I mean, Nickeil Alexander-Walker would be a huge question mark. I really don't know even how to assess it. I think you're looking far more at a Lonnie Walker up against Atlanta. I'm with you on him as well. I think he makes a lot of sense. Gets a little bit questionable a little bit further down here. We'll see if Derek White can be available. I'm going to throw it out there just because he's still there. Peyton Pritchard might be a thing. You might be able to click on his name at 3,600. Any interest there if you have no Richardson, no Schroeder, which is obviously the case?
Yeah, you can definitely take some chances with Peyton Pritchard. And this also might lead to more ball handling against Marcus Smart as well at 5,400. It's a tough Denver matchup, but salary is a thing. So no issues if you fall on Pritchard if you're looking for salary relief, if there is no Derek White available.
Yep, just wanted to throw it out there. Let's keep it going. Over to FanDuel we go. Point guard, DeJounte Murray, 10-6 there for him. You can play him at shooting guard as well. DeMar DeRozan, 10-4. Shooting guard, small forward eligible. We've got Trae Young at 9K. James Harden, who's a Philly game time decision. That would be hilarious if he just played the first game back after being out for, I don't know, ever. But just want to throw it out there, 9,600. Donovan Mitchell, 8,800. I bet that's pretty popular here. But we're going to be waiting on a questionable Tyrese Maxey. I know there were a number of Philly guys that popped up on the injury. So not just James Harden in the trade, but Tyrese Maxey, questionable. There was one other guy from Philly, and I can't remember who it was off the top of my head that I thought I saw as questionable. Not just Paul Millsap. It was somebody else. Maybe not. Maybe not. But either way, excited to talk through some of the guard spot here with you. I mean, if there's going to be no Maxey and no Harden, I mean, is this like legitimately a spot where we want to be rostering? God, I don't even know. Is this like Shake Milton possibly?
Milton's also
that's who the questionable guy was. I was going to say Shake Milton along with Maxey, along with Harden. If they're all out, is Danny Green, Furkan Korkmaz, is it going to be Point Embiid tomorrow?
It certainly could bode to that direction, but we'll see what ends up being the final roster availability there. I mean, no Seth Curry there is going to just open up minutes as is. Furkan's going to be there. Isaiah Joe's available to get some minutes. We'll get word on Harden. I think Harden should be fine. He had his last couple practices. He practiced in full. So in a matchup against Oklahoma City. But yeah, it's just tough to pinpoint on who's available for that guard spot. But if Harden's available, he's great at that price tag. But no issues if you fall on a guy like him. But it's tough. Yet again, it's going to be the LaMelo Ball show at 8,400. How you move off that price tag in a Detroit spot where 40 minutes is going to potentially be on the table for him, as they have no true backup point guard now. That's something that people might have not noticed. Ish Smith is not there anymore. We might see James Bouknight as the backup point guard there, and he might not even get that many minutes. They might just have Rozier run point and the non-LaMelo Ball minutes. And Kelly Oubre can run point as well, so it's kind of an underrated bump for these guys that might get overlooked with the trades that they did to get Montrezl Harrell. Now, both these guards for Charlotte are just awesome options, Rozier and Ball. But Cade Cunningham, if he goes at 6,700, I do think there'll be some sort of minutes limit since he's been out for so long, or minutes monitoring with his hip injury. Now, if you go to 8K, Zach Levine, it's there's a couple graphics out there. The Minnesota tree are all stars this year. Levine, Wiggins, and Cat. But I think Levine at 8K makes a ton of sense, as does Trae Young at 9K as well. If you want to play Halliburton, I'd recommend to do it at 7,600 on FanDuel. I think that's a reasonable price tag for you to target. Devin Vassell, 4,900, I like as well. And if there's no Ayo Dosunmu, we can definitely go to Kobe White at $4,400.
Yeah, Kobe White, 4,400. He was popular the other night. He'll be very popular again here. Zach Levine, I find that entire range. You talked about Halliburton, 7,600. Zach Levine, 8K. I think both of them just make fantastic plays there at the guard spot. D'Angelo Russell, my boy, after his phenomenal 50-point outing there against Sacramento, 36 minutes. If he plays here, we got to be looking at rostering him. He's questionable along with, everybody else here. So just keep an eye on Minnesota news because that's always something that can pop up. Luckily, that game locks at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Let's head over to Yahoo. Top end of guard there. James Harden, $49. Philadelphia 76ers, James Harden. That's crazy to say out loud. DeJounte Murray, $47. Trae Young, $41. LaMelo Ball, $38. That looks fun. Donovan Mitchell, same exact number. Halliburton, $33. Definitely FanDuel. Going to be the priority of playing him there. Rozier and Cole Anthony, both at 28. That's kind of fascinating to look at. Tyrese Maxey, 28. Only if there's no Harden. I think that would be a spot where you can maybe look at that. And just going on the cheap end here, I don't see a whole lot I want to get to down at the bottom end here. It would have to be a lot of injury news that would pop up for something there. Anything on the value end of Yahoo that you might be looking at?
It seems a spot to spend up, but if you're looking for some sort of value on the bottom end, I think you can definitely take your chances on Alani Walker. Bones Highland is also available at $11. Patrick Beverly is $18, but that seems a little too expensive. Trey Mann is $10. The minutes have been there for him. But Duarte at $19, you can definitely target. If you get all of those guards out in Philly, and if it's just Shake Milton, he's also $10, but he's been gone for so long. Keep an eye there. Book Knight is $10. We'll see how many minutes he actually gets, but I have no issues if you want to play him. I think being ahead of the field on a rotational, projecting out a rotation is can pay off massively when the guy like him is priced pretty cheap. But keep an eye on the situation there. Definitely want to spend up on the point guard and guard position, seems like.
Yep, Ish Smith back to the Wizards. I mean, he's been there before. He's there again. Do you know how many teams Ish Smith has played for in his NBA career?
I think, name most of them.
All right. I know how many the number is, so I'm going to be excited to have you count. Go.
He's played on Philly, New Orleans, Detroit, Orlando, the Houston Rockets. He has been on Washington. He has been on Oklahoma City, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where else has he played? I'm trying to think if he...
We're at 7. I will tell you how many more teams we need, but
there's a lot more. I'm just trying to
there are.
Backtrack. Obviously, the Charlotte Hornets.
Yep.
He bounced around.
The answer, Ryan, I hate to do this, but for interest of time, because again, you named 8 players that Ish Smith has played, or 8 teams that Ish Smith has played for. That's a lot. You're looking for 4 more. He's played for 12 NBA teams.
Yeah, I thought it was 13 or 14, but yeah.
12. That's a lot of NBA teams to play for. And we're talking played for, appeared for, not just traded for a day like Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Because he's now played for 3 teams, if you want to put it that way.
Well, he never played
for Portland. That's what I'm getting at. That's happened in the NBA.
Oh,
get traded and then get cut or never appear for a team. But legitimately, 12 teams for Ish. That's crazy. You know what else is crazy, Ryan? Yahoo. Get 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum just by signing up. You deposit $10 or more. You played in any paid contest, and you get the ability to play and have all of the best projections in the entire industry. That is Awesemo. That's what we do here. We have NBA. We have NFL for the Super Bowl. We're going to have MMA, PGA, NHL, all in full bore. You need to check out these projections. The top golfers tool, the top fighters tool. We have top stacks tool for NHL. And then for MLB, God willing, that comes back here in a month and a half. We are looking at some massive, massive contests around the industry. And just by signing up at Yahoo, depositing $10 or more, and playing in any paid contest, the quarter, the dollar, any of their great Super Bowl offerings, you'll get 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. So stop guessing, start winning, and join us here at Awesemo, but do it through this Yahoo promotion. The best you will ever find, period, end of story. Plus, lowest rake, we're talking 11, 12% for all their tournaments, as opposed to 15, 16, 16.5% you're looking at paying on DraftKings and FanDuel. So I'm telling you right now, best site you can play on. Thank you so much to them for their sponsorship of the NBA Slate Starter podcast and so many other shows throughout Awesemo. All right, my friend, going to forward. We are going to the top end here. We've got there a number of guys, one of which being DeMar DeRozan, 9,700. The Chicago Big Three, they're all back, and they are expensive against Minnesota, but it seems like finding exposure to 1, 2, 3 of them in tournaments, if you're playing more than a couple lineups, always makes sense. Jason Tatum, 9,600 here in Boston. We have no Jason Richardson. That doesn't really matter. Dennis Schroeder maybe matters a little bit, but Jason Tatum, 9,600 against Denver. That's definitely going to make sense. Jaylen Brown, 8,700. Another guy. 2 Boston players, the 2 elite guys. They're going to continue to be elite up top there. Tobias Harris, 8,300. If you get no Maxey, if you still have no James Harden, he'll make some sense against a terrible OKC team that should just throttle them at home tomorrow. And Miles Bridges, 8,100 against a bad Detroit team. He was a guy I really like for tournaments. I'm going to like him again tomorrow, no doubt about it. 39 minutes, almost 40 fantasy points. But it's not just that. It's the fact that he has a 50, 60, almost 65-point ceiling in him at a deflated price from the other guys. That's why I like him. Who do you prefer at forward at the top end on DraftKings, Ryan?
Yeah, looking at the forward spot on DK, it's important to obviously keep an eye on what teams will have active bodies and whatnot, but spending up for guys like DeRozan and Tatum are fine. I prefer Tatum to DeRozan. I think the upside is much higher for Tatum, but DeRozan's been balling out. It's a Minnesota spot for him, but if you want looking for some more value at the forward spot, I think Anthony Edwards can provide you that at 7,800. That's pretty solid savings. If there's no Harden there, there's Tobias Harris, $8,300. It's just his last chance to be the number 2 option in this offense before Harden's there, and he kind of goes out and stands on the wing. But Devin Vassell's $4K. I like that quite a bit. Jeremy Grant is $6K. That's pretty solid. He played a decent amount of minutes tonight. Kelly Oubre is 5,900. The minutes should be there for him. A pretty solid spot. Looking down the list here, Alexey Pokaczewski is probably going to be popular. I think I'd shy away, even at that price tag. The 6 stocks, he has that in his game, but I just don't think. I think the floor is much lower than people think it is with Pokaczewski. But I think if you want to pay up for his teammate Kenrich Williams at 4,400, it makes a lot more sense to do something like that. While the San Antonio guys, Lonnie Walker also has forward eligibility. What the minutes look like, up in the air, but no issues if you fall on a guy like him.
I was in love with Pokaczewski for tournaments last slate. I wish I had fired harder on that intuition. I got to 10x the field, but we was like 2%. So it's a bummer. I'm with you in terms of if he's popular, you just hit eject. Obviously, there's no Diakite there. He can play backup 5. He'll back up Baisley at times here and there. But Pokaczewski also went 4 for 5 from 3. That's not something that I look at long-term as being who he is. He's a guy who shot 27% from 3 coming into that game. That is not good. So I'm just going to throw it out there. I think I have to be with you there. Regression is a B, and you need to kind of take that into account. You have Diallo. You have some of these Detroit pieces. If there's no Cade Cunningham, you can talk about Bey, Grant, Diallo. Kind of same thing you had a little bit today. But with Bey being the most expensive, Grant 6K on DK, maybe Diallo 4,600 in that starting unit, going to be somebody you can take some shots on. So I just want to throw him out there as well. Let's go to the forward spot over on FanDuel. Top end, DeMar DeRozan, 10-4. That's really pricey. Then it gets a little bit more useful. James Harden, 9,600 if he plays there for Philly. Small forward eligible. Jason Tatum, 9,200. You have an $8,700 Karis LeVert. That's still pretty darn expensive alongside Evan Mobley, specifically Darius Garland in that same backcourt. But Tobias Harris, 8,500. I think I can pull the trigger on that. 8,100 Jaylen Brown. That looks pretty interesting. And then you get down a little bit further. Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, both 7,600, 7,500. We've seen some upside from them. Indiana, I believe the term that you used, or excuse me, the phrase you used is everybody eats against Indiana. Well, they've only gotten worse. I think we need to have the opportunity to have that conversation. That's knowing Tyrese Halliburton. He's a decent defender, but these are not guys that are playing anybody in the backcourt. I'm looking at Mobley and Allen as guys who should probably be overweight to on FanDuel. How about you?
Yeah, something to obviously keep in mind there. Caris LeVert is in the picture. Darius Garland has returned from injury.
Yep.
That certainly doesn't help guys like Mobley and Allen. We kind of rode them for the last 2 weeks to a certain extent without those guys there and no Markkanen. Yeah, everyone does eat against Indiana, but I have no issues if you go there. Just keep in mind another guy who's going to get up at shots doesn't help. A guy like Mobley, who can generate his own shot. Allen is more of a putback guy and rebound guy. Doesn't really the offense doesn't really run through Jared Allen. But if you want to spend up here, Jason Tatum 9,200, pretty solid price tag. Prefer that than rather paying 10-4 for DeMar DeRozan. That's way too damn expensive for DDR. I like saving a lot and going to $7,400 Anthony Edwards. That's a pretty awesome price tag in my opinion for Anthony Edwards in that matchup. The upside should be there. Now, if you want to spend down a little bit in the mid tier, Kelly Oubre 6,100. We've touched on him throughout the show. Makes a lot of sense to fall on him. They said Buddy Hield is going to play. He's $4,700.
Yeah, let's go Slate Starter podcast.
I think you can definitely take some chances on Buddy Hield. But it's going to be Jeremy Grant, class of the power forward position at $5,200. People are going to love to play him. Played great today. You can definitely go back to him at $5,200. He's going to be quite popular.
Yep, Lonnie Walker, 4,500. We've got a lot of guys here that we can maybe take some shots on. We'll see. Even a Doug McDermott, 4K flat. Just throwing it out there into the world because why not? That's kind of the way I look at it. Let's head to forward on our sponsor, Yahoo. Miles Bridges, $32. Oh, wait, that's not the most expensive guy. DeMar DeRozan is $43. Jason Tatum, $40. Then Miles Bridges, $32. I had that scroll down already. Tobias Harris, $31. Looking down a little bit further, though, I'm looking at some value. Devin Vassell priced up to $19. It's kind of surprising. They preemptively priced him up. Good job by our sponsor there. Alexey Pokaczewski, $13. Kenrich Williams in that same spot, $12 there for OKC. Played 30-plus minutes his last two, put up over 30 fantasy points because that's what he'll do. And up against Philly, I'm not a great matchup, but I don't really care. I think I can pull the trigger on that. And then we just saw Torrey Craig get traded to the Suns, so don't play him at $11. I'm looking a little bit further down. Gets a little bit hairy here. I'm looking maybe going a little bit more. The one guy I'll throw in lastly, just because I think people were slow to the trigger on him as a starter. There's a $10 Jaden McDaniels from the Minnesota Timberwolves in Chicago. That should be a great game environment. Most teams playing Minnesota or Chicago are going to be great game environments. They play each other. $10 for him there. He played 32 minutes there. There were a number of guys that were out there. Obviously, you could get more. We'll see kind of what that injury situation looks like. But if he's starting, definitely somebody to keep an eye on at $10. Who sticks out to you, Ryan?
Yeah, definitely want to spend up if you can. But in terms of value, Buddy Hield is $12. Kenrich Williams is $12. Those guys stick out to me. Yeah, McDaniels is fine if he starts, but if Pat Bev starts, I don't want to deal with McDaniels. But at $10, it's $10. I have no issues if you fall on a guy like him. Now, looking at the mid-tier here, yeah, I was doing a great job with pricing where there's not much glaring value. Matisse Thybulle might be forced into many minutes if this team's going to be shorthanded. He's $10. $10 can do a lot. Jeremy Grant is $26. I like that price tag quite a bit. Mobley's $29. I think you can definitely consider that as an option. As is a sub $30 Anthony Edwards at $29. That's pretty appealing. So there's some value in different tiers here, but the bottom tier was Buddy Hield and even Kenrich Williams, even a Royce O'Neal at $11 can pay off in many ways.
Oh, Royce. Just plays 30 minutes, puts up 0 fantasy points. My favorite.
I don't know about 0. He had one amazing game I think against the Nuggets where he out-rebounded. He had the most rebounds in the game.
That's absurd. He's a tilting individual, but you can definitely take shots on him. I will say, if you ever need
I think we're tilted by Royce O'Neal because we play so much playoff DFS, and people are just forced to roster him.
You have to.
You don't have to.
You do. He plays 36 minutes in the playoffs, and there's no Joe Ingles there now. Like, he's been out, he got hurt, and now it's like there should be 30-plus minutes there for him every night, and just a question if he decides to shoot threes that night or not.
Yeah, that's the thing.
All right, let's go to the center. Hey, Nikola Jokic, 12-4. Joel Embiid, 11-9. They're on the same slate. That's adorable because, again, that's all I feel like I ever say is they're on the same slate. Cat's there, 9,800 as well. Lots of guys that we're kind of looking at there. Vooch popped up on the injury sheet yesterday, but he's probable. He's going to be good to go there. We've got an upgraded questionable Rudy Gobert, so we have a chance that he could possibly play tomorrow, which would be so beautiful because this Hassan Whiteside thing, as much as I was chasing it and finally got there last game, I'm sick of chasing it. Like, I'm legitimately sick of Whiteside. He's 5,600. Maybe I want to play him again there. Maybe I'm a glutton for punishment, but Azubuike's been starting there in the stead of Gobert. Please, Gobert, just play so I don't have to try to extract anything there, because it feels like a spot I have to be over-invested every slate. Jared Allen, 7,900, no. Robert Williams, 7,300, no. Pirtle, maybe 7,300, but looking like I might have to go a little bit cheaper there. We've got Isaiah Stewart, 5,400 there. Yes, Olynyk and Grant are still there, but he's still playing some pretty large minutes here for this team that's going nowhere. They ain't going nowhere. They can't be stopped now. Well, actually, they can only be stopped now because they're the Detroit Pistons for life. Talk to me about center on DraftKings, Ryan.
Yeah, center and DK. Opportunity cost is high if you don't go up to an Embiid, potentially just on his own, 11-9. So I like that a lot. I like the savings, $500 off of Jokic, but we know what the upside Jokic can bring to the table. In the next year, guys, if Rudy Gobert goes and he's a full go, I like it a lot at 8,500. No issues if you fall on him, but I do think there could be some sort of monitoring or limited minutes situation for him. Now, if you want to spend down a little bit more, Goga Bitadze is 4,700. They only raised his price tag $500. So yeah, I think we can go back to Bitadze at 4,700. Now it's a tough price tag to move off from if the minutes are there. Even he needs like 25 to 28 minutes to get you there. He's like, I think, $2,000 too cheap if he plays 30 minutes type of situation.
Yep. Goga. I don't know what else to say. Goga's a great play. And that makes a lot of sense to me. 11-5 Nikola Jokic on FanDuel. Joel Embiid, 11K. Vooch, we got 9,800. Karl Anthony Towns, 9,600. Going a little bit cheaper here, Ryan. We've got a number of guys. Clint Capella is now all the way down to 6,100, but he's been playing such low minutes here. It seems like anytime Collins is there, which he's there, he just plays the majority of the minutes there at the 5. They've got a guy as well backing him up where it just becomes a Kungwu, and you can get some more minutes out of a Kungwu. 16 the last 2 here. He's serviceable as well. Atlanta just has a lot of front court depth, and that's a little bit of a problem, but 6,100 from Capella just looks wonky. If there's no Gobert, you have a 6K Whiteside. I think I'll still probably take some shots there, but Goga Bitadze, 5K coming off 30 minutes. My God, he's going to be insanely popular. A 4,800 Mo Bamba is maybe the pivot off of it, but what sticks out to you on FanDuel, Ryan?
Looking at FanDuel, it's definitely Embiid at 11K. I like the $500 savings off of Jokic yet again. So it makes a lot of sense just to go to Embiid. But with one spot at center, I have no issues if you want to spend down to Bitadze at 5K. That makes a lot of sense. Kelly Olynyk has fallen to the min at $3,500, power forward center eligible. Yeah, I don't mind firing some off of some there. He can pay off in 15 to 20 minutes at $3,500 price tag. You don't need much to pay that off, and Olynyk has the upside to really break the slate. So I don't mind if you fall on him. But in the mid tier, I think you can go to a Vooch at 9,800. He's not the mid tier; it's kind of expensive, but it's just Batadze, and then PJ Washington's also there at $4,800. We haven't touched on him, but with Montrezl Harrell potentially going to be there, it just ruins him, ruins Plumlee, ruins a lot of fun in the front court for Charlotte.
Yep, let's head to center on Yahoo. Round out this beautiful slate starter, this post-trade deadline edition of the NBA Slate Starter. Smash that like button for us if you've enjoyed it as much as we have. But Nikola Jokic, God, I'm so tired too. Whew, it's been a long day. Let's keep it going. $56 for Jokic, $53 for Embiid. Over on Yahoo, same kind of thing where there's the slight separation. But I will say, $28 Pirtle, $31 Allen. That looks pretty enticing to me if you fall on that. Olynyk, $14, a little less enticing. If there's going to be no Rudy Gobert in $11 as a Buki, I think is something you can kind of look at there a little bit. But the last guy I'll really talk about, there's no Enes Freedom. There's no anybody else there. I suppose at $26, Robert Williams also has to be in the cards. Less than half the price of the two studs there, but two center site like Yahoo, I don't mind taking those shots. Ryan, what sticks out to you on our sponsor, Yahoo?
Yeah, it's definitely Rob Williams at the $26 price tag. The studs are expensive for sure, but then there's Batadze at $15. There's a Bamba at $17. If you're looking for a $10 guy, Zach Collins is playing the backup big there. Drew Eubanks has been sent away. He's $10 in Zach Collins, but Jared Allen is $31. The upside against Indiana is certainly present. While I think, it's that's really about it. It's Jokic and Embiid, and then there's obviously I guess Jakob Poeltl at $28. I think that's another guy we can consider. He's just $1. He's just $1. He's only a couple dollars less than Jared Allen, so the upside is there for Poeltl. But I think the value spots is Batadze, and spending up for Jokic and Embiid make a ton of sense.
All right, Ryan. Hey, we did it. Another week of the NBA Slate Starter. This one was eventful. This one had fireworks. This one had takes. This one had flaming hot fire. It was fantastic. Also, you're the best. Any final words for the people as we head into the weekend?
Yeah, Rams by 3 tutties.
You're obsessed with that. Did you bet the alternate spread?
Yeah. I've done all that. I've definitely done I've done a lot of different alternate spreads for that game, but yeah, I just don't think the game will be that close, unfortunately. But hey, you never know.
The Super Bowl. I'm a Minnesota Vikings fan. I don't know what a Super Bowl is, really, to be honest with you. I've never experienced one in my life. Maybe that's why I hate Super Bowl weekend. But you know what? It doesn't mean that there isn't gambling, that there isn't content, that there isn't amazing things we can do for it. Again, check that recap show, that amazing ranking show that I did with Lofty, with Ben Rossa, with Jordan Klein here tonight. It was so much fun. That's why I'm maybe a little sluggish here at the moment, but we're getting through it. It was an absolute blast. Ryan, so much fun talking the NBA trade deadline. You're like, oh no. I can see the comment section going nuts, but you know what? It's all great. He's Ryan. Hang on. He's Ryan, this guy right there. He thinks 3 tutties by the Rams. I'm Eric. I think they win a close one. We'll see you guys later.